Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome to Happy Trails Hiking. My name is Kay, and this is Foodie Friday. On Foodie Friday, we get to talk about food. It's one of my favorite days of the week. I have a guest today. I'm very excited about this guest. The guests for the last 2 weeks are probably better known to me than any of my other guests that I've had on. Last week, if you didn't see that one, I had my sister on, Lori, and we talked about freshly and home delivery meals. And today, I have a very special guest, and I've known this very special guest since she was in middle school, and I was still teaching about 12 years ago. So she has been a very important part of my life for the last, 12 years. And I just want to let you know that she's wonderful, one, and two, she just graduated from culinary school, and she won't get to have her graduation. So today I want you all to celebrate Marie with me. Marie Owen has an associate's degree in bakery and pastry arts and a bachelor's in business administration, and she is a 2020 graduate of Sullivan University and one of my favorite people in the world. So please welcome Marie. Marie, thanks for coming today.
Oh, it's good to be here.
Awesome. We've got a great room in the chat today, and I do want to say hello to them. And some of them you may know, and some of them you're about to know. But I do want to say hello to our audience. And we had Aman Rizwan was here earlier, and he says, don't forget to be awesome, all the best. And I think he was probably someone that you brought into the show because I've never met Aman before. So welcome, Aman. Marty's Crew, Our Family Adventures says hello. And Lacey, Marty's daughter, wants to be a chef when she gets older too. So she should be listening. Lori Bryant is here, who's my sister. Desmond Stonders, Deb Shane, who is a Duchenne parent, is here. Outdoor Nomad is here, as well as, and Donna Owen has come in and says hello. So that would be Marie's mom. So everybody be nice. And Desmond Donder says he loves you already. Congratulations. So this is awesome. I want you to, okay, so you're Sullivan University, which is in Louisville, Kentucky, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And can you just tell us a little bit about your program? Because I know it's different than other college degrees.
Yes. So my college has other programs besides the baking and pastry. We also have culinary. We have the technology degrees. We also have nursing, a few other degrees. We are on a quarter system. So we go to school for 11 or 12 weeks, and then we have 2 weeks off, and then we go right back into it. So instead of having, maybe like 3 months off from July until August, we just have the 2 weeks and we go year round. It is set up a little bit differently. We have what we call lab classes. So each quarter you have a lab class, and then you also have 2 or 3 other classes. Those would be like your gen ed classes, your extracurriculars, things like that get you all the credits you need to graduate. So the lab classes are what you really do most of your work in. So that's where you do the baking or the cooking. I had to take one cooking class, and the rest of mine were baking. So
okay, so that's interesting. I'm getting a little bit of an echo, but that's not a big deal. Is everybody else here in the audio okay? Just let me know in the chat, moderators. Treats by the Campfire is here, and that is Lacey. So she's interested in baking, and she's from Kansas, so it's not too terribly far. It's about 4 hours farther than from where we live to where you go to school.
Oh yeah, we have students from all over. We even got some people from the Army who come, and they're kind of like a teacher's aide, but they're also learning with us at the same time. So that's always interesting when they were in class with us too. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're saying there's a slight echo noise. I'll try to step back from the microphone and that should help. So can you tell me a little bit about how you found out about Sullivan University? Because I've
One
never
of the, oh, okay. I looked at a lot of colleges. I had a lot of trouble getting accepted into college, and this is like the first one I thought that had a good program and that accepted me. I'm really glad I went. It was a really good experience for me. And they do get you out into the workforce. I had to even do an internship before I graduated. So I found out about it through a friend of mine who I've been friends with since diapers, basically. Her mom got something in the mail and thought it would be perfect for me. So that's how I
There
found
you go. That's excellent. Because I hadn't heard of a bunch of culinary schools because I was one of those teachers who was trying to help kids find, hey, this place would be good for you, and this place would be good for you. And I went culinary. I have no idea.
One of the big ones is Culinary Institute of America. I always thought that was funny when I would get emails from them because the subject line would say, "The CIA wants you," and I thought that was always funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marie now works for the goes to the CIA. We could have made some really great jokes about that when you were graduating. Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're excellent. Okay, so I am interested in you sharing some of your projects with us. You've been at Sullivan for 3 years. This is your third.
September 2016 is when I started. I graduated with my associates in 2018. Okay, yeah. I'm looking at my roommate in the other room right now. 2018, we graduated with our associates. And then I didn't have lab classes. I was more in the academic classes and learning about the business side of things for the rest of my time I was there. So.
Awesome. And you know Nikki Murphy. She's just stopped in to say hello. We've got a couple other people within hiking distances here, as well as Life on the Trail. They're our regular viewers. So welcome to Alexandra and Gary and Nikki. Thanks for coming in. So tell me a little bit about your projects that you've been working on. And this will be, I'll stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
Okay, let me pull that up. I made a little PowerPoint. I'll talk about some of the things that I've done. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. So as I was saying before, I had to do 1 quarter of culinary. So up on the top, you can see there's a knife with some carrots and potatoes. And there's also some peppers down in the corner. We had to do that was the first thing we did was knife cuts. So we basically go in and there'd be vegetable of the day and that's what we'd be cutting, and we just cut vegetables all day, and that's what we did for a whole week.
Did you name your food?
Sometimes.
Because his name is Gary. And Gary was delicious.
Yes. I was very nervous about doing that fish. So Chelsea, who you can see, she's in the middle of the picture in the top right corner.
Gotcha.
She helped. We decided to name our fish so I wouldn't be so nervous about cutting him up. And then, he was pretty good, so we had to take another picture.
Okay.
And then the princess chicken was probably the nastiest thing we ever made.
Oh no.
It was very gross, but we enjoyed the name, and we had to put a little crown on it because it was princess. So
it's a princess, of course you
do. This pie that I have down here, we were very proud of it when we made it, but I put that one in there so you could see the growth that I had through my program.
Okay.
Because it doesn't look very good to us anymore.
So this is your first quarter, and I'm assuming that the white is powdered sugar?
Yes.
Okay.
We made a stencil with parchment, and we cut the stars out of the parchment, and then we just did the powdered sugar on top. So.
Gotcha.
And then the picture in the right corner is my first lab group ever. We called ourselves the A team. You can see, well, there's me on the right. That's Ken to my left. He's very tall. We are really good friends. Next to him is Chelsea, who I talked about before. We're still really good friends. She's my roommate that I was talking to a second ago. And then that's Abigail on the left, but we didn't really become good friends. It just happens.
It does.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to show us the next slide?
Yes. So this is the first quarter of baking. So all the way on the left, I have my first puff pastry. Those come in, you can make it by hand, but it's very tedious. It takes a long time and a lot of butter. I made it in my bread class later, but just for baking one, it was too much. But it was a good thing to, get us in the mindset of baking after cooking the last quarter.
Sometimes I forget that baking includes pizza.
Yes, we made that was like one of my favorite days was pizza day. And yeah, you can see my pizza up there. We did 2 pizzas. I couldn't find the picture of my other one, but this one I think was the one that turned out the best.
Cool.
So my carrot cake right here, my chef instructor told me to write something that had to do with carrots on it, so I decided to write carrot on there. These cupcakes right here are orange chocolate cupcakes. We did a cupcake war, so that was me and my partner's cupcake that we did. We didn't end up winning, but it was still fun.
Oh, that sounds like fun. It looks neat. It looks really neat.
Yeah, we even had prizes. We had you could win a bowl scraper if you want.
Oh, well, that's cool.
You can buy them at the store for like 50 cents.
So is that a gummy something or another on the side of it?
It was a rock candy orange. So we just boiled sugar and we put orange flavoring, and then we had, I think we did molds or we broke it like that. I don't remember. And then
Jasmine Stonder says, "What is not to like about this picture?"
The cake on the right is one of my very first cakes that I did. I do not like doing cakes very much at all. I'm very much more of a bread person.
Gotcha.
Which is really a surprise for me because my mom and my grandma have always been big cake decorators, and I've always, I've grown up watching people make cakes and trying to decorate cakes myself. But then when I did this cake, it just made me so frustrated. So ever since then, cakes have never been my forte.
Not a thing, huh?
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a bread person.
I like bread.
Yeah, there's more areas of baking than people think.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. And then underneath the pizza, you can see bread dough that we made.
Sure.
We liked to name our doughs, so I don't remember what his name was.
Is this a you and Chelsea thing or just a whole?
No, this is my partner. I think her name was Jessamine.
Everybody names their dough?
Usually, yes, because we have to label everything when it goes in the cooler. So then the next day we can come in and, everyone can pick up their same stuff that they were doing. But a good way to keep our bread separate was to just name them.
There you go.
So we would name our breads.
Okay.
The plated dessert underneath the puff pastry there is an angel food cake. That's probably one of my first good plated desserts. I was looking through a few pictures yesterday, and I was like, I don't know if I want to show some of these.
So this was your first quarter? Is this true? Or your
second quarter? So my first quarter was the culinary class.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then you can see underneath the carrot cake is those are turnovers and chocolate chip cookies. That was for our first exam. The cake on the left was also from our exam.
Gotcha.
We would have a list of things we had to do, and then at the end of the week, we would present it on a piece of parchment, like you see my cookies and turnovers on,
Huh?
and then they would use the parchment to measure or compare colors and stuff like that. It was a good neutral background, so they could really measure measure our stuff, see if it was the right specifications.
Awesome. So, Inspired John has gotten here, and I want to say hello. And Colorado Martini is also here, and she's working out on a treadmill, which I'll probably need to do after looking at all this food. Inspired John says he calls your food lunch, and none of the rest of us have any. And then Marty's crew told him not to hog all the pastries. And Rachel Rawson is here as well, and she's from the UK. And she's going to start naming food, like having Gary the garlic bread tonight. Fish earlier. Never mind. Oh, well. Maybe she came in a little bit later than that. And Nikki Murphy says bread. Yum. Desmond Donders. I do not see the problem with naming things, but then I do have an RV named Desmond. Yes, our RV is named Alf. So I don't know if it's my food, but that's okay. All right. So quarter number 2. That's cool.
Yes. Okay, so I'll go to my next slide. So this was my favorite lab by far because, as I said before, I'm definitely a breads person. We didn't do only breads in this lab, though. We also did more cakes, as you can see on the right. I couldn't remember if that was my cake or if it was just the example cake. But it was a very good cake. It was Sullivan's version of a strawberry shortcake.
That does not look like any strawberry shortcake I've ever made, but that's beautiful. So there you go.
I think it's mine. I was pretty sure it was mine, so that's why I put it on there.
We'll just say it is until you're.
Yeah, it looks better than the chiffon cake, so you can see a little bit more growth there. You can see we did bagels. One thing people really find surprising about bagels is that you have to boil them.
Okay.
When you bite into a bagel, it has that tough skin on the outside. You get that by boiling. So.
Yes.
And then you can see all of our.
So if you point at things with your mouse, there we go. We can see your mouse.
Bagels.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Everybody's hungry again now, says Desmond. He's from Scotland, so he's already eaten a couple times today.
Okay. Right next to the bagels right here, we have this is my St. Lucie bread. Everyone didn't make St. Lucie bread though. We did breads from around the world as a project. So me and my partner at this time we were assigned to this bread to do. And then we also had to give a presentation. One thing I didn't say about our lab classes is that we also had a classroom academic class that went along with it, so we could learn about the history of what we were making, the science about it, that kind of stuff. So when we did our projects right here, we would do we had our presentations that we'd present to the class, and we all learned about the breads from around the world, and we'd all get to try them. So that was really interesting.
Treats by the Campfire is excited about all the things that are going on, and they're not donuts, Lacey. They're bagels.
Yes.
And, Inspired John says he's had St. Lucia bread, so that's really neat. Now I've heard that saffron goes into St. Lucia bread. Is that true?
Yes, saffron is actually one of the most rare spices in the world, and because of that, it's very expensive.
Yes.
So when I made the St. Lucie bread, I was easily holding over $100 worth of saffron in my hand when I was measuring it out.
Wow. Okay, so I do have to ask then. You all make all this food. Does it get consumed?
Yeah, we have, I don't know if the school still does this, but at one point when I first started, they had a convent that would come in. Anything we didn't want, they would take on either Saturdays or Sundays, but everything else we would take home.
Cool. And then what are the things right next to the St. Lucia bread?
These are Napoleons. I said earlier that we made our own puff pastry. This is the class where we did that. We also made our own croissants, and we made Danish in our first quarter. Yeah. But those are the 3 types of laminated doughs. So a laminated dough is a dough that you fold butter into. And you roll it out and you put more butter and you roll it out and you put more butter. If you've ever had a croissant and you bite into it and you see like a lot of holes, that's where butter has melted. And that's why those doughs are so buttery without even you having to put butter on them or anything. So the Napoleons they have pastry cream. Don't remember what's in the middle, and then on top is royal icing with ganache. And it's the puff pastry that's in there. That's the dough.
And can you tell me about the sailboat? Because I think I can recognize most of the rest of it, and we're already 20 minutes in here.
Oh man, okay. This is dead dough. So this is one of our big projects. A dead dough is a dough that has yeast in it, but the yeast is already dead. So you can bake it off and it won't rise. And it's very sturdy, but you still have to be careful with the smaller pieces. This I made as a gift to my Boy Scout camp that I worked at in 2016. It's the camp logo.
Gotcha.
I'm actually gonna be there again this summer. So
excellent. That's awesome. Within hiking distance says everything's better with butter, and she has a son who says little man loves to eat pieces of butter. maybe give him a croissant. It'd be good. And then Desmond Saunders says our college had a cafeteria and they used to make use of the goodies from the baking courses. So that's kind of what I expected her to say, but she didn't. So, all right. So this was quarter 3.
Yes.
All right. Quarter 4.
Yes. So this is my chocolate lab. This is where we really perfected a lot of the skills we had learned. One of the first, they just threw us right into it. One of the first things we did was actually these chocolates down here. You can see I tried to make them red, white, and blue because I made them around 4th of July.
Cool.
And then these are turtles back here. So that's pretzel, caramel, and pecans, and then it's dipped in chocolate. These are raspberry, my red, white, and blue ones were. And then these are Jandua, which they kind of taste like Nutella. They have hazelnuts and chocolate and butter, basically. That's it.
Desmond, I need to do a chocolate lab.
Chocolate is very temperamental. That's kind of a pun because you temper chocolate. We did a lot of tempering. That's how these are so shiny, is because they were tempered. The 3 categories of tempered chocolate are snap and shine. So when you snap a tempered chocolate, you can really hear it and it's really shiny. So that's the difference between if you wouldn't temper it and if it was tempered.
Gotcha. Okay.
I also got my blues. So you saw in my first slide, I was in my all white uniform. Since it's my 4th quarter, I got my blue set, so it has my name on it, and I didn't have to wear a name tag anymore, and I had my blue hat and my blue neckerchief. So a little bit of elevated status. They hold you to a higher standard a little bit.
That's cool. Marty says the top right looks very appetizing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, that is an entremet. We made a lot of entremets. It's basically a frozen mousse cake. So if you would leave that out, it would unfreeze very quickly and it would be real gross. So you have to keep them frozen.
Gotcha.
But it's mousse, and then usually there's some kind of fruit filling in there and some kind of crunch factor, and then you freeze that together, and then that's when you put the mousse around it, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Rachel Rawson says she'd be very fat if she were doing your program. And John says he has hesitation trusting you because his dad said never to trust a thin chef. So. I trust her. Let me tell you, the food that she made when she was in high school was fantastic. And then I had her come do a presentation. Well, not a presentation, but a presentation. She catered basically, a musical for us. So we had a dessert musical, and she and Chelsea came and did all of the pastries and desserts for that. So that was very cool. All right, I'll let you keep going.
Okay. The bottom right and the bottom left are also more entremets. Same concept. I know the bottom left one was chocolate. The bottom right one, instead of being enrobed like you see the other ones, it was just airbrushed.
Okay.
I don't remember what the bottom right flavor was, but I know the top right one was lemon cherry, I believe.
That sounds amazing.
That one was really good.
It sounds like summer, you know? Oh, yeah. And Nikki Murphy wants to know, how do you temper chocolate? So what's the process there?
Each type of chocolate has a different tempering process. So you raise it to, I have a whole list of like notes on tempering. You raise it to a certain temperature, and then you lower the temperature by adding more of the chocolate or putting it over ice if you're like in a hurry. But you can't leave it on the ice for very long because then it'll freeze.
Yeah.
And then you bring it back up to real close to the other temperature, but a little bit lower. I don't remember the temperatures off the top of my head, but I know when I was in this lab, I could have told you.
That's all right.
We did it so much.
Sure. Good question, Nikki. And thank you for asking. I appreciate that. All right. This was number 4. This was quarter 4. So we're through a whole year now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was my chocolate piece, and this was pastillage, which is a it's a powdered sugar dough, and it's very temperamental.
Oh, wow.
You can see my Lego back here holding it together because I did not like doing pastillage.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds like it was
very, and yeah, it was humid, so that's why it's a little droopy up here. But
yeah, that's all right. Everybody, thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Everybody's reminding so if you see that in the chat, guys, hit the thumbs up. It tells people in YouTube that I'm doing good stuff. So yeah, that really helps me out, and it helps Marie get her work out there too.
Yes.
Internship time.
Yes. As I said before, every student has to do an internship. I chose to do mine back home at Companion. So I didn't get a lot of pictures there because I was very busy every day.
Okay.
I would go in around 3 or 5 in the morning, depending on who I was working with that day, and I'd usually get out maybe at between 12 or 3, I remember. So.
And you told me that was one thing that surprised you about the baking profession was the hours that you're going to have to work.
Yes.
So.
I kind of knew the hours would be weird, but I wasn't like the adjustment process was really weird. I used to work at Panera Bread. I just finished working there last week. But
and that was Marty's Cruz question. Now that Maria's graduated, is she working as a baker yet?
Yes, I have been, but because of the virus, I was furloughed. So in between jobs right now.
Right. You said you were going to be working at camp this summer, and I understand that's a kitchen job. Are you?
Yes, I'm managing the kitchen for my camp, which is Swift Base. So I am basically in charge of coordinating, getting the food from one camp, getting it, and then getting it to my camp, organizing, getting food to the campers, getting food to the staff, making sure there's enough for everybody. It's a lot more than it sounds like.
Oh, I can't imagine.
My camp director says that the food is one of her biggest headaches, so she wanted someone who knew what they were doing. So
you're gonna rock at that job, Marie. I'm so happy for you. That'll be great.
I'm excited for that.
And then after camp, you're hoping to get another job as a baker or bread baker. So hopefully,
yes, I'm gonna check availability at Companion. Hopefully, so.
Awesome. Oh, I'd like that. You'd be closer to home, and I know your mom would like that as well. People are saying that they're sorry that you've been furloughed, but
Yeah.
there are good things on the horizon for this gal. Let me tell you.
Yes. So this is my last slide. This is my last quarter. So after internship, I had one more lab. Usually people do internship after they finish, but mine was just, I chose to do it at a different time. So on the left up here, we have my sugar piece, which was Beauty and the Beast themed.
Neat.
That wasn't actually made of sugar, though. It's a sugar substitute called isomalt. You don't want to eat that because it will give you some bathroom issues.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, it's more sturdy than sugar, so that's why we used it.
Cool. Awesome.
This was my first cake. So we learned in this class, we learned about pastries from around the world. And then also we learned how to do like wedding cakes, 3-tier cakes, and more, as you can see from this cake here. So this is my first cake. This one actually wasn't graded. But I really like the flowers that I did. I tried to keep this one, but he ended up falling apart one day, and I was very sad.
Oh.
But yeah, all these flowers are made out of gum paste, and then this is fondant covering it.
Yeah.
This is my midterm cake.
And it's blue.
As you can see in this cake, I didn't really want to do any piping because not the best at cakes again. So, my piping's a little weird, but this is my first cake I did piping on. These are also gum paste. I know it's kind of hard to see, but this was painted silver, so it was like a blue and silver type theme.
That's pretty.
This is one of the first plated desserts I did in this class. It is a deconstructed Nanaimo bar, which is a dessert from Canada.
Oh, cool.
I know it has chocolate and coconut and pecans, but I don't really remember what else I put with it. And then this is the plated dessert I'm most proud of. I got a 98 on that one.
Yay.
It is a deconstructed Sacher tort. So that's why you can see like the S on the plate here.
Mm-hmm.
That is tempered chocolate on the plate. This is an apricot sauce. And then this is it's kind of like a mini entremet with some kind of nuts on the bottom. And then I have a chocolate feather as my garnish.
Wow, Marie.
And then I'm sure everyone's wondering about the Harry Potter cake. This was my final is what we called it.
Final.
Yes. So I went into practicals before. They're very stressful. This is probably the most stressful out of all of the practicals. On Fridays, we didn't have classes, so we were allowed to come in and we could practice things we had learned or just make whatever we wanted. Mm-hmm. So I came in, I want to say this cake took me 3 different Fridays to finish.
Wow.
But these, it's obviously my thing is a Harry Potter theme, so I got a Deathly Hallows symbol here with a treacle tart, and there's some things I had to make. These are chocolate frogs, and they're kind of hard to see.
Okay.
I got a fruit tart. I got some more pot of choux over here. Then I just have various other decorations. This is my menu that I made. So, yeah.
Very nice.
And I believe that is all of my pictures that I have.
Awesome, Marie. Well, your mom said that we are so proud of all that Marie has accomplished. And let me tell you, for those of you who haven't known Marie since 2008 or before, this young lady has come a long way. And this former teacher is really proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh. And she's one of the first kids that got to hear You Are Not Replaceable.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm sorry.
It's okay.
She knows that I cry, and she's lived through me doing it for years. So she's awesome. And giving you an A+ and saying thank you. And Rachel Rawson is a huge Harry Potter fan. So
that's good.
Awesome. So yeah. All right. Everybody's like, Kay's going to make us cry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Marie, I am proud of you. And congratulations. And wow, look at you. I'm impressed. Thanks for being on Foodie Friday today and telling
Yeah,
us
thank you.
about your Sullivan University time. That's very exciting. All right, if you'll hang out for a second, I'm going to finish out the show. Okay?
Okay.
Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
All right, guys. Yeah, I like my kids. And thank you, Donna, for sharing yours with me. I appreciate it. Okay. I hope that you guys have a good weekend. I need you to do a couple things. Hit the thumbs up for me. Share this out with other people who might be looking for culinary schools. And then come back and leave a comment at the end. I'm sure that Marie would love to come back and read those from you all. And the second thing you need to do is go out and live the life you love today. And remember, you are not replaceable. Have a great weekend, guys.